Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning, Bram.
We have talked in previous interviews about fiduciary care. We have talked about transparency, and we have talked briefly about costs and how that all comes together in the investment mandate. Can you describe the process that leads up to the investment mandate once you start discussions with a customer?
Yeah. Well, really, the investment mandate is the first building block of how we're going to put an objective for what the client is going to, or the investor in our case, is going to receive. So it's very, very important that we're on the same page, that the investor and ourselves agree and understand what the priorities are, where the areas that they don't want to be are, and where the areas that they perhaps should be are. We have to have a clear understanding together on that.
I have learned during my years in banking that clients generally would like the highest return for the lowest risk.
Yes.
And that is not real. That's not the real world we live in. Could you say something about that?
Yes, I mean, effectively what we're doing when we're managing wealth, which is not exactly the same as having a fund. In other words, we're managing, if you like, holistically the economic situation of a family or an individual, which may include a portfolio of marketable securities we've discussed before. We're effectively managing risk. So we need to look at what is risk, and perhaps we can do that in a future interview. In order for us to be able to get to that place where the investor can sleep at night, which is really what I think our job should be. Because if you have the privilege of having more money than you need, you have capital in excess of your requirements, and you can't sleep, I mean, barring health problems, if you're laying awake at night worrying about the capital you have, well then really and truly there's not much point of having that capital. You should perhaps give it away. So our job really is to make sure that we have a strategy in place which is understood by an investor, and that together we walk down the road and they do sleep at night. And that means that the risks that they're taking are risks which are acceptable to them and line up with the rewards that we think we can achieve in the marketplace. Very often that won't happen. So the investment mandate very often will produce a result where we would say, well, we don't think in this particular instance that we can accept an instruction, because we don't actually think we can achieve what you want us to, given where we think the market is and where the market might possibly be in 5 or 6 years' time.
So this would be like the KYC, the Know Your Customer process that nowadays financial institutions takes their clients through. But in your case, it's much more intense because you want to know that what you're doing is for the benefit of the client.
Yes, and we have to know that we can help. We can add value. We can produce a result. You know yourself over many years in banking, the procedure for most asset managing companies and banks is they will receive a client. They won't turn a client away. They will say, give us your assets, and then we will decide with you how we can manage them. We take a different approach. We must understand after discussion exactly what it is that we want to try and achieve together. And only when we think we can achieve something will we receive an instruction from the client. Many times it may be that we can't. The expectations of the client are too high, in our opinion, in which case for us the right thing to do is to say, well, the mandate will not allow us to add value in the way we want to, either because we have to take too much risk, which we think is not appropriate, or simply the returns are not feasible. So we would much rather decline an instruction than go into an area where we're just going to be earning a fee. So the investment mandate, which we effectively are going to be judged on day in, day out, week in, week out, by the investor, by the client, is very, very important that we get that right.
Thank you, Jeremy. I hope that we can come back on the investment mandate, and once you have that in place, how you would take that forward on next occasion.
Fine. Look forward to that, Bram.
Thank you.
Thank you.